I had the opportunity today to participate in a virtual conversation with business owners all over the country who are involved with the LaTip networking organization that I'm a part of and have been a part of since 2009. I've posted several other videos of my presentations to my networking group on my yoga business and what I offer, aiming to dispel the myth that yoga is just downward dogs and warrior poses. Yoga is far more and much richer and deeper than stretching your hamstrings and learning arm balances. This morning, the topic of conversation was, how do you make decisions? What is your decision-making process, and is it a good one? Could you learn to make better decisions? The way that I ended up on the call was last Friday at our normal networking meeting. The president of the company, Summer, and Maria from corporate were at our meeting, and I was discussing the clarity workshop that I offer that many of you have attended, which is based on the teachings from Rod Stryker in this book, The Four Desires. I was explaining how after the workshop, when we have our Dharma code solidified and we're using it as a mantra for ourselves, that the Dharma code specifically aids in our decision-making process every day. It specifically is involved in what we choose to do. Things as small as what to choose to eat, things as large as do we quit our job and look for a new career path. The Dharma code can be and is intended to be the overlay for our view of the world and our position in the world. When Summer and Maria heard me say that, Maria said, you should come to our discussion next Wednesday morning and share your thoughts on decision-making, and it might help some of our fellow LaTip members. So I did. I came up with a short talk that I'd like to share with you. I'm calling it Dharma-Based decision-making. How about that? What do I mean by Dharma-Based decision-making? I mean that decisions are best made with the bigger picture in mind. And what is your bigger picture? If it's a decision that has any impact on your life or on anyone else's life or is a relatively big deal, wouldn't you want it to be the right decision for your life? The obvious answer is yes. So why not view the situation, view your life from the perspective of the great picture, the great cycle of your life, your Dharma, your reason for being here, your big why, if you will, your big why. There's a 5-step process that we can all use to make better decisions. And it starts with something that I first actually learned in real estate from the founder of Keller Williams Realty named Gary Keller, who wrote this book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. First, right out of the gate, he says, if you're going to be successful in business or in life in general, you need to be powered by what he calls a big why. The first step in making great decisions is knowing your big why. And that is not by any irony the same concept, just stated in different ways, that we learn in the Four Desires process and the clarity workshop that I teach. Let's define our reason for getting up in the morning. What is our big reason? What is driving us? What's pushing us? What's motivating us to take action in life to do anything? It could be money, but it's usually not. That's a surface, usually egoic want. Yes, we need money to buy food and have shelter. Yes, of course, there are necessities that money provides, but that's usually not our big why. We learn from the ancient yogic scriptures that we are what our deep driving desire is. Or in other words, our biggest why, our biggest, most powerful why drives us. As our desire is, so is our will. As our will is, so is our deed, meaning our actions. And then as our actions or choices are every day, so is our destiny. Wouldn't we want our destiny to be in line with our big why, our choice? Once we identify, and now the process of finding our big why, that's a different conversation. Let's move on. So after we have a deep driving desire or a big why that powers our motivations every day and can help inform our decision making, what do we do next? If we have a decision coming, let's pause for a moment and breathe. Let's not make any rash decisions. Let's take a moment, close our eyes, simple. Take 3 or 4 4-second breaths. Those of you who take my yoga classes surely know my metronome. If you are interested in downloading a free metronome app, just put it on 60 beats per minute. Yeah, so it's 1 click per second. 2, 3, 4, and then exhale. This is 1 beat per second, 60 beats per minute. You can use a metronome or you can just count to yourself. Just breathe in. And breathe out. And out. As simple as that. When you're faced with a decision, whether it's small, do you say yes to going to the party tonight or no? Or it's large, like you're witnessing some things at work that don't sit well with you ethically, and you're faced with a choice. Do you speak up or not? Stopping before acting and breathing, just like that, will do wonders for a little bit more clarity. All right, so we paused. We didn't act rashly. We didn't decide out of reaction. Okay. We took a few slow breaths, which already immediately gives us more opportunity to see the situation from a higher perspective. After we breathe, let's tune into our inner wisdom. How the heck do you do that? Many of us have positive affirmations. Something as simple as, I am clear, calm, and collected. I am clear, calm, and collected. Or I am wise, I am kind, I am tuned in. I am wise, I am kind, I am tuned in. You can repeat a positive affirmation or affirmations. Of course, you might say a prayer to yourself. You may have a mantra that's been given to you or that you resonate with. Repeat that a few times to yourself as if it's a meditation. Or, my personal favorite, repeat your Dharma code to yourself or your Sankalpa. The Dharma code is literally your big why. If you have ever taken the Clarity Workshop with me or studied the Four Desires work with Rod Stryker or with any other Four Desires teacher, you likely have a Dharma code, a mission statement for your life, which is your big why that Gary Keller talked about in his book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. When you calm the brain, you get yourself out of the chaos and drama of the current situation that you might be in where you're faced with a decision. You do that by stopping, closing the eyes, taking a few deep breaths, and letting the mind just get still for just a moment. Then tune into your inner wisdom center, whether it's your heart, whether it's your soul itself, your belly. We do that usually by one of these methods, saying affirmations, prayer, mantra, or Dharma code, or your Sankalpa. Once you repeat that a few times, you realign yourself with purpose, with the wisdom of your soul, the wisdom of your inner self. And if you don't like calling it soul, call it your inner knowing. You get in touch with the wisdom of your inner knowing, the part of you that knows the answer, the part of you that's clear and calm. And even if the answer doesn't immediately come, that's okay. Let's look at step number 4. After you repeat your Dharma code or your mantra or your affirmation, return to the situation with more clarity. Return to the situation through the filter of your greater purpose. That's not complicated. You close your eyes, take a few breaths, repeat your mantra or prayer or affirmation or Dharma code. Then, when you open your eyes and you start to contemplate or think about the decision that's in front of you, you are now looking at it from the perspective of what you just clothed yourself in or bathed yourself in. You just changed clothes, basically, from the person that might be chaotic and erratic and unclear a little bit or a lot of it to the more wise watcher that is our soul, higher self, knowledge-based inner wisdom. That's this filter, this clear lens, or this hyper magnified lens even, to see life differently. And the answer, again, may not come right away, and that's okay as well. This is a process that we can repeat. Once some direction does come, and once a decision does arrive, and if it doesn't arrive, perhaps go back to numbers 2, 3, and 4 before you can take action. When the answer does come, it might not be in black and white language or data or facts. If you don't already have a practice of, quote, trusting your gut, you should develop that willingness to trust your intuition. The soul speaks to us in whispers. The ego yells at us with a megaphone, lights and explosions and cameras and fanfare. Cut through all that. Quiet the physical brain, the monkey mind, as Eckhart Tolle says, and listen to the whispers of truth. The answers may be whispered in ways that you might not be used to hearing. Learn to act on it, because when you act on what your higher wisdom gives you, it strengthens it, almost like validating it, and it creates a symbiosis between lower self and higher self. And you open up that channel for more communication with your soul, more wisdom to flow through. It's called the antakarana, the channel from our lower self to higher self is grown and flows. When you hear something that might give some direction, take action. Take action without attachment. Take action without attachment, meaning if the direction you're going may need to be modified, which many times, even for the most successful people, the most wise people, they're not afraid to modify their choice, their path. If something needs to change it along the way. If you realize, oh crap, that wasn't exactly the right decision, let's pause this and let's turn and go this way, and then we'll carefully walk and see maybe that's not the right decision either. But do something. Action is very important, even if you need to change, and be willing to change. And that's what this react is. Not reaction, like a knee-jerk reaction or being triggered. This is being willing to change your action and acting again. If that means going back to step number 2, pausing and breathing and starting the process again, do that. But take action and be willing to listen to the whisper of your higher self. I hope that helps a little bit. As mentioned earlier, I will share a little bit on how to uncover your big why or your Dharma code or your purpose, your grand mission statement in life. It comes from the yoga tradition, from the teachings of Purushartha, from the Vedas, the ancient scriptures in India. Purushartha refers to the 4 intentions that the higher self has for each lifetime. The 4 intentions can also be called the 4 desires, the 4 wishes, the 4 areas of fulfillment that your soul intends for our body and our personality to optimize in each physical incarnation. There's a beautiful book on it that I've referenced multiple times already. And of course, the workshop that I teach on the book, I call it the Clarity Workshop, and I teach it approximately twice a year, once around the beginning of the year and then once around mid-year. It helps us determine our big why, our reason for being here on this earth. Then our other decisions can flow forward from that. Here's some more details on the next one. It'll be Saturdays, 1 to 4 p.m., starting late May, 5 sessions of 3 hours each, and it's perfect timing just for mid-year, like a check-in. Our last one was in December of last year. That was preparing us for January and 2025, and now let's do a mid-year check-in. More information on my website. That's what I wanted to share with you today. I would love to keep this conversation going. Put some comments down below and let me know your thoughts on this. If you have a decision-making process that works for you that's different than this, let's hear about it. See if anything that I've said today could be interesting, and would you be willing to incorporate any of these things into your process? I'm curious. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you in the next video.